I spoke with Drew Liquerman of Republicans Abroad from our Washington studio, and I asked him if he accepted Mr. Trump's explanation.
My understanding isn't better than what we've seen on Twitter, so there's the reports he said it, but then Trump came out and says he did use tough language, but he didn't actually use the language that is being reported in the media right now.
And do you believe him?
I do believe him, but it's tough. I'm sure Trump used tough language. I don't know what the exact language was. I mean, Trump's a straight talker. People elected him to speak what's on his mind. He doesn't speak like a lawyer. He doesn't speak like a politician. And he used an uneloquent hyperbole, if he did use the language he's accused of using. So
you would not support using that term?
I personally wouldn't use that term, but I mean, Trump's just I don't know what his exact language he was using, but he's clearly trying to raise a valid point that the current U.S. system, he wants a U.S. system of immigration that favors merit versus a random diversity lottery.
But this was a bipartisan group of political people trying to come up with a joint solution, and the remarks, whether he used that term or not, clearly have been condemned as racist. Do you accept that condemnation?
No, I don't accept that condemnation. First, for two reasons. It's not racially charged. I mean, my family moved to the U.S. about 100 years ago, and from an area, they lived in huts in Eastern Europe, in an area I would describe it the same way, in using the same language that Trump's described using the countries he used, and my family would describe it the same way also. And also, I think the fact that the UN is speaking out and condemning Trump, if anything, makes Trump look better. I mean, no one could really take the UN seriously while Saudi Arabia is on the Human Rights Council, Iran is on a Women's Rights Council. I mean, the United Nations has condemned Israel on the UN Human Rights Council more than every other country in the world combined. So, I mean, the fact that the UN came out and condemned Trump, if anything, makes me not want to back down on supporting Trump.
Well, I think Donald Trump and Jared Kushner have been pretty supportive of the current Saudi regime. But just putting that to one side, you're saying that you do not understand why people in African countries or Haiti would feel upset and offended at having this sort of language used about their countries of origin.
Look, I understand why they'd be upset, but I mean, these countries have very poor economies, very poor government and governance. They have rich cultural backgrounds that benefits the U.S. The U.S. is benefited by having people come from all over the world by different backgrounds. And part of the reason why people want to come to the U.S. is because of, well, countries they're living in. I mean, people look at the U.S. as a great place to move to, as a utopia. And a lot of times, like, my family moved from a very poor, ridden area, and they were coming to the U.S. for opportunity.
Absolutely. Self-betterment is something why people move from all over the world. But the sentiment that seems to have been apparent in Donald Trump's language is that America does not want these types of people, but they do want Norwegians. That seems to be based on preferment by skin color.
I don't think it's preferring by skin color. It's preferring by people that are willing to work in the U.S., willing to actually benefit the U.S. Our current immigration system does not benefit those who actually want to come to the U.S. and make a difference.
Can I just ask,
it benefits those who are randomly picked, and it benefits them by letting them bring any family member into the U.S. once they've been randomly picked.
Can I just ask you, if my family is from India, so people from around the world go to the U.S. It is seen as a beacon for people who want to do better for themselves and their families. Does this not create a huge risk of actual violence based on racism and xenophobia to see President Trump speaking like this again?
No, I don't think it risks any of that. I mean, I don't think so at all. And like I said, I'll double down on that. I think it was, if Trump did use the language he's accused of using, I would say it's an uneloquent hyperbole. But he's coming from the sentiment that the U.S. immigration system, it doesn't benefit people that want to come to the U.S. and work. I mean, people like that should be happy that the U.S. is changing its immigration policy. Right now, it benefits people that are randomly selected. Trump just wants an immigration policy similar to Canada, New Zealand, Australia, many European countries.
Drew Liquerman there from Republicans Abroad speaking to me from Washington.